Jane and Ella had been best friends since their senior primary school days in Lagos. People called them twins because they were always together and did everything together. Jane, the melanin beauty, was quiet and reserved, always putting on a polite and good-natured front. Ella, the light-skinned beauty, on the other hand, was lively, friendly, and very smart. She was the top student in their class, while Jane struggled to keep up. Jane admired Ella's intelligence and confidence, but felt she could never measure up. Although she tried her best, she often fell short compared to Ella's natural abilities. Despite this, Jane valued their friendship and supported Ella in everything she did. As they grew older, their lives took different directions. They attended the same secondary school. Ella continued to shine academically, while Jane felt overshadowed but kept her feelings to herself. She maintained a loyal friend, even though she struggled with her own insecurities. Jane and Ella's friendship was marked by a subtle but persistent tension. Jane often seemed supportive. She was secretly envious of Ella's success and popularity. Jane constantly compared herself to Ella, wanting the same achievements and recognition. The underlying competition drove Jane to mimic Ella's choices, whether it was in fashion, hobbies, or even opinions. Jane would often make comments that she masked as jokes, but were intended to undermine Ella. For instance, she would tease Ella sometimes, calling her Ochaka Omaka, suggesting that she is too fair and only looked beautiful because she was fair. These remarks were meant to subtly chip away at Ella's confidence. Though Ella often brushed them off with a smile, believing they were just Jane's way of showing affection. Jane also pretended not to notice Ella's accomplishments. Whenever Ella achieved something noteworthy, Jane would act nonchalant, downplaying her friend's success. She would find ways to divert the conversation or shift attention away from Ella's achievements. While Ella was gracious and didn't dwell on these slighting comments, she occasionally felt the sting of Jane's unspoken rivalry. Despite their outward friendliness, Jane's behavior was driven by a deep-seated desire to compete with and surpass Ella. This rivalry, hidden beneath the surface of their friendship, began to affect how Jane interacted with Ella. While Ella remained unaware of the full extent of Jane's jealousy, she occasionally sensed a subtle coldness or indifference in her friend's reactions, but she chose to ignore it, hoping it was just her imagination. As Jane and Ella grew older, they both became attractive and eligible for marriage, drawing the attention of many suitors. Both were beautiful in their own right, and soon men began to show interest in them. This new attention brought out a side of Jane that she kept hidden. Jane often preferred Ella's suitors, even when she had plenty of options. This choice wasn't about the men themselves, but about maintaining her sense of superiority. Ella, on the other hand, felt a mix of hurt and jealousy each time Jane showed interest in the same men who had pursued her. When the two friends went out together, it was common for men to stop and compliment Ella, which made Jane feel secretly envious. Jane enjoyed spending time with Ella, but couldn't help feeling overshadowed by the attention her friend received. Living together in the same apartment, they shared everything together, including their deepest secrets. Their close living arrangements brought them even closer, but it also made Jane's feelings of jealousy more intense. They both graduated from the university, but their results only highlighted the differences between them. Ella graduated with a first-class honors, while Jane received a second-class degree. Despite her joy for Ella, Jane felt disappointed and frustrated with her own academic performance. The strain of these unspoken feelings of jealousy and competition began to affect their friendship, even though they continued to support and care for each other. One evening, as Jane and Ella were chatting and laughing together in their apartment, Jane mentioned a handsome guy she had been admiring. He often visited the estate supermarket where Jane shopped, but she had only admired him from afar because she was too shy to approach him. They both laughed about Jane's crush, and Ella encouraged her to take a chance if she ever got the opportunity. Not long after, Ella had a surprising encounter. One evening, as she was walking home from work, a tall, dark, and handsome man in a Range Rover stopped and offered her a ride. Ella accepted, and they chatted during the drive. He introduced himself as Kennedy, a wealthy and charming businessman. They hit it off, and Ella was excited to tell Jane about her new acquaintance and how much she liked him. Ella and Kennedy quickly became close. Their relationship blossomed into a loving romance, and they started going on dates frequently. Ella shared her happiness with Jane, who reacted with a mix of emotions. Jane frequently asked to see pictures of Kennedy, but Ella always brushed it off, saying that Jane would meet him soon enough. As Ella and Kennedy's relationship grew stronger, Kennedy expressed interest in meeting Ella's friends. They decided to host a dinner at their apartment so Kennedy could get to know Ella's close circle. Ella and Jane prepared a delicious meal and eagerly awaited Kennedy's arrival. When Kennedy arrived that evening, he was charming and affable. Ella was delighted to see her two worlds come together and was excited about her new relationship. As Kennedy entered the apartment, Jane's heart sank. She was stunned to realize that Kennedy was the same man she had admired from a distance at the supermarket. The shock, excitement, and jealousy swirled inside her, making it hard to hide her feelings. Kennedy seemed puzzled by Jane's reaction. He had never met her before, and her mixed emotions were evident. Jane tried to mask her surprise with a forced smile and polite conversation. But her mind was racing. She felt a deep sense of betrayal and confusion. Unable to cope with the flood of emotions, Jane excused herself and went to the bedroom. There, she let her tears flow freely, feeling both ashamed and heartbroken. The realization that the man she had always dreamed of was now romantically involved with Ella was overwhelming. After a few moments of crying, Jane composed herself and returned to the dining table. She joined the conversation with a strained smile, trying to appear normal. Despite her effort to hide her feelings, the tension in her behavior was noticeable. She felt trapped between her emotions and the need to maintain her friendship with Ella and civility with Kennedy. As Jane mingled with Ella and Kennedy, she tried her best to appear genuinely supportive of their relationship. She praised Kennedy's charm and their compatibility, while secretly hoping their romance would falter. Her feelings of jealousy were intense, but she kept them hidden behind the facade of friendship. One night, Kennedy came to the apartment with a special surprise for Ella. He carried a bouquet of beautiful roses, along with several other thoughtful gifts he had carefully chosen for Ella. Ella was running late, so Kennedy decided to wait for her at the apartment. Jane welcomed him warmly and invited him to sit while he waited. As Kennedy waited, Jane saw her chance and excused herself to change into a revealing nightgown, hoping to catch Kennedy's eye. While Jane returned, she made a concerted effort to flirt with Kennedy. "Hi, Kennedy," she said, her voice laced with an artificial sweetness. "I hope you're comfortable. I know Ella will be back soon, but I thought I'll keep you company." Jane leaned closer, her eyes lingering on Kennedy.